Good afternoon, everybody. This is me, Willie Green, in the captain's chair for today's edition of Southern Miss Today. The typical host, Abby, is evacuated with her friends or family over in Louisiana. There we go. I got I have Ellen Ruffin coming up from the DeGrumman Center. Mississippi Moments coming up. Got some news wraps. Stick around. News is next. Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mississippi Beverages. Mississippi Beverages provides water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mississippi Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mississippi Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online. If you or your business is interested in sponsoring programming on WUSM, we'd love to talk to you about the benefits and opportunities. You can get recognition for your business as well as the appreciation of the WUSM audience. The audience realizes your support provides the programming they listen to daily. In addition, our sponsorship rates are very cost-effective and tax-deductible. To learn more, call 601-266-4287. Okay, welcome to Southern Miss Today. If you're just tuning in with a look at news around the area. In USM Campus News, the Center for the Study of the Gulf South at the University of Southern Mississippi will have 2 free book talks this month. Both events will open to Southern Miss and local communities. The next one is going to happen Monday, September 16th at 5:30 p.m. Journalist and author Tracy McMillan will be discussing the book, The White Bonus, 5 Families and the Cash Value of Racism in America. That's going to be in the Gonzalez Auditorium in the Liberal Arts Building, room 108. McMillan currently manages coverage of worker organizing. There we go, for the media outlet Capital in Maine. Her work has previously been featured in the New York Times, Mother Jones, National Geographic, and the Village Voice. Among other publications, she's the award-winning author of the New York Times bestseller, The American Way of Eating. In Hattiesburg news, almost 4,000 customers from the 5 South Mississippi power companies have had their power restored due to Hurricane Francine. There are around 8,000 customers that are still in the dark, however. Hurricane Francine passed through the area, of course, Wednesday night and Thursday morning. That storm knocked out power to over 17,000 residents in the southern part of the state. Crews from the 5 power companies serving the Pine Belt took to the roads to restore services. As of now, there are still the majority of the power that's out is in Jasper County, Jones County, and Smith County at this point. Regarding Hurricane Francine, MEMA has released an initial report for the following, that there are no deaths or injuries related to Hurricane Francine as of right now. And there were also no search and rescue operations deployed. Currently, there are 160 people, though, in local shelters. So I hope everyone's rode out the storm okay. It didn't seem to be terribly damaging to us in the area, but there was certainly a lot of rain. And if you had some damage, I hope that you can work it out well. In other Hattiesburg news, Hattiesburg has a $4.3 million grant to boost the city's ongoing lead-based paint remediation and safety efforts for fire in public housing in Hattiesburg. These grants are going to come from the HUD Capital Fund Housing-Related Hazards and lead-based paint programs. Hattiesburg will get $2 million from the Housing-Related Hazard Funds for reducing residential fire risk, and $2.29 million from the lead-based paint program for mitigation regarding lead-based paint. In national and international news, Wednesday morning before the shooting at the school that killed 2 students and teachers, Colt Gray's mother, Marcy Gray, received a text message from her 14-year-old son saying, "I'm sorry, Mom." Marcy Gray called the school and asked administrators to check on Colt Gray. Authorities allege Colt Gray killed 4 people that morning in the shooting. 7 others were wounded by being shot, and 2 others suffered other injuries. Colt Gray is charged with 4 counts of felony murder and will be tried as an adult. His father, Colin Gray, has been charged of knowingly allowing his son to have a weapon. And Colin Gray has been charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children. That comes from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. The teen suspect's father, Charles Palamas, told CNN that after Marcy's call to the school, that he and Marcy began to drive from their home in Fitzgerald, Georgia, to Winder. It's always just a terrible reminder anytime there's a school shooting that the violence on run onto kids is very terrible and very real, unfortunately. Finally, bringing a little lightness to you here, there's a buzz in Rio de Janeiro currently. A 3-year-old border collie named Floki, who has become an internet sensation. People record Floki's athletic feats. What are those feats? They are in the game foot volley, which is an interesting combination of soccer and beach volleyball. Floki amazes the bystanders because he hangs tough in a game that even humans struggle to get a handle on. Foot volley rules are essentially the same as beach volleyball. The net's a little lower, and like soccer, players are forbidden from using their hands and arms. Floki's athleticism lets him hop up in the sand and drive the ball with his mouth. And he seems to have a really good handle on the rules, according to his trainer and owner. That's kind of an interesting little story. You ought to look up Floki somewhere on the internet and see him play some foot volley. At any rate, I'm going to be right back after these faster messages with your sports and weather on Southern Miss Today. Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mr. Sippy Beverages. Mr. Sippy Beverages provides water, water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mr. Sippy Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mr. Sippy Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online.
Put a frog in boiling water and it'll jump right out. But put a frog in cool water and slowly heat it up, that frog will boil. As veterans, we tell ourselves the lie that we can handle anything. We let the water boil. You are not a frog. If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach. Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
And in sports on Southern Miss Today, coming up this week, track and field and cross country will be participating at the Southern Showcase. That's going to be on September 13th. Women's volleyball will be playing Presbyterian on Friday, September the 13th as well. That game's going to be in Macon, Georgia at the Hawkins Arena. And the Golden Eagles have back-to-back home games as they'll play University of Southern Florida Saturday, September the 14th. Of course, at M.M. Roberts Stadium. University of South Florida is coming off a 42-16 loss to Alabama. So far, USF has a 2024 record of 1-1. Just like the Golden Eagles so far, hopefully we can throw another win in our column and put another loss onto University of Southern Florida. That'll be Saturday. In other athletic-related news, Southern Mississippi announced Wednesday fan experience updates regarding the game day parking and tailgating procedures for this weekend's game, as well as the remainder of the home schedule. Southern Miss Athletics have added drop-off points for fans at 2 locations. In addition to the drop-off zone at Spirit Park, fans will be permitted to enter East Memorial Drive from the main campus entrance on Hardy Street. And they will also have access to the green space surrounding the Lucas Administration Building, Bennett Auditorium, and other campus locations. In addition, fans are going to be able to use the 4th Street entrance to Eagle Walk to drop off in the area around Siena Hall and on Ray Guy Way between Spirit Park and Century Park South. Fans are encouraged to drop off their larger tailgating items Fridays before home games between noon and 5 p.m. Fans are also permitted to drop off at Centennial Green from 5:30 to 7 p.m. On the day of the game, fans are permitted to use drop-off zones from 7 a.m. until 5 hours before kickoff. Several lots remain available for Golden Eagle fans that are free and do not possess a Golden Eagle football parking pass. You can find those references at the southernmiss.com for that. Season ticket holders are eligible for a season-long parking pass at the Eagle Club membership. You can get more information for that from the Southern Miss Ticket Office, 601 266 5418. To keep up with all the Golden Eagle sports activities, head to southernmiss.com. In today's weather, cloudy with a little drizzle. Temperature is going to reach a high of 86. Cloudy tonight with a low of 67. Partly cloudy Saturday and Sunday with a 25% chance of rain on Sunday. There's a look at news, sports, and weather on Southern Miss today. We're going to be right back with Mississippi Moments with Bill Ellison, produced by the Center for Oral History and Cultural Heritage at USM. On today's episode, Joby Martin speaks out about being the first black TV host in Mississippi. That's coming right up after these sponsor messages on Southern Miss Today.
This is Mississippi Moments, produced by the Center for Oral History and Cultural Heritage at the University of Southern Mississippi and supported by the Mississippi Humanities Council. I'm Bill Ellison. After a Jackson TV station lost its license due to civil rights violations in 1969, Joby Martin was offered his own show. He describes being the first black TV host in Mississippi.
He said, Joby Martin, he said, I'm going to give you a television show now. Called all the CM in there and said, look, I'm going to give Joby 30 minutes on every Saturday. So they went out about a week. Said, we can't sell it. Said, everybody afraid to buy it. He said, Joby, can you sell it? I said, yes, sir, I can sell it. First man I went to was a car man, and he sold Oldsmobile, name of Toby Trowbridge. I said, Mr. Trowbridge, come on in, Joby. What you got? I said, I have a television show. I said, only thing I want to know how much it is and what time it is. I said, I got one sponsor. So I got on the air. I said, ladies and gentlemen, my sponsor is Van Tro Oldsmobile. At that time, they had just gone to the moon. I say, Oldsmobile was the first car to ever go to the moon. You go up there now, you'll see an Oldsmobile. I was lying like a dog.
To hear more, subscribe to the Mississippi Moments podcast or just like us on Facebook. Mississippi Moments is supported by the Mississippi Humanities Council. The humanities are for everyone.
I don't. All right, those Mississippi Moments from the Center for Oral History and Cultural Heritage here at USM. Of course, you can hear those Monday through Thursday right after the news, weather, and sports on Southern Miss Today. Right now in the studio, I've got the great pleasure of having Curator Emerita of the DeGrumman Collection, Ellen Ruffin. Thank you so much for coming in and being a guest. This has been Mississippi Book Festival week. Unfortunately, the weather kind of shut us down a little bit on yesterday, and it's a shame. We had Dr. Grace Hale talking about In the Pines, which is a really, really great book. And oh, really? I mean, I was telling my students, I teach an entertainment media law class, if someone hasn't already optioned that for a movie, I mean, because there's so many different ways you could look at it, you know. It's a really, really good book. And anyway, yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Well, I mean, because I'm not going to give away the story, but there are several different angles that you could kind of look at it from. In fact, I may write my own treatment. Maybe I'll be the one.
I love that idea.
That'd be pretty good. Okay, to get things started a little bit, how about a little autobiography? Where you come from?
Well, I retired from the DeGrumman Children's Literature Collection last year. And so, but I've stayed involved in the Mississippi Book Festival, which is why we're here today. And, but if we're going to go way back, I was born and partially raised in New Orleans, and then spent a time in Jackson, and then wound up in Hattiesburg, where I finished high school, and then lived in the Mississippi Delta for many years. And so, I mean, if it's in Mississippi, I've been there. I've covered it.
I mean, and such rich literary history. I mean, New Orleans, of course, has just, tremendous amounts of involvement. The Delta, there's so many great Mississippi writers of all stripes, just some very fantastic stuff. So I guess would have been fairly easy for you, if you were a reader, to really embrace things that were around.
And I think that's so true. And look at how we're still breeding them. Angie Thomas, Jessamine Ward, for goodness sakes.
Yeah.
Big names. It's, well, and Kiese, I can't say his name. Kesey Lamon. Am I saying it right? I bet I'm not, but he's so wonderful. And he was at Ole Miss for a while. And look, it just keeps happening. These Mississippi voices keep appearing.
My first introduction to a lot of the Mississippi authors was Eudora Welty as a kid. The Capers Papers and
Oh,
some of the
yes.
short stories. My mom had one of the ones I remember vividly is Why I Live at the P.O., which is just a really screamingly
It's
funny
just so
story.
wonderful.
Yeah.
I met a friend years ago in Aberdeen who had named her dog Stella Rondo from
Why I Live at the
Post
P.O.
Office.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway.
It's such a great book. So, I mean, such a great story. Anyway.
It is.
Okay, moving on a little bit. So you curated the DeGrumman collection at USM, renowned children's literature research collection and whatnot. I'm sure you've been asked this a million times. How did you get involved in that, and kind of what led you to children's literature?
Well, children's literature happened because I've always been a reader. And I happened to take a course in children's lit and realized there's more to it than I thought. And of course, it was such an imprinting type mechanism for me as a kid. I was an only child. And even though I was growing up in New Orleans, I still read a lot. And and all of those names of characters and situations have stayed with me through the years. It's amazing. But with getting involved in it professionally, that knowledge expanded tremendously because there's so much to a children's book that the average person doesn't realize what
sure.
it takes. A picture book, a novel, a middle grade novel, every bit of it, everything is thought out and cared for.
I think a lot of people discount children's ability to take in some of the information, but I think that's short selling
I
a
do
lot of
too.
kids, right?
Thank you so much for saying
Yeah.
that. Yeah. One of the books, I'm speaking to Kate DiCamillo, who has a new book out titled Ferris. And one of my comments about the book is that she treats children and old people and insects and animals as if they're something to be seen. And I think as she does that, children do see it through her writing and through her eyes, and they become relevant. It's often, she has two characters in this book that I really enjoyed, and one is a librarian, and I was afraid she was going to paint that librarian in that typical
That dour, kind of thing.
yeah. And she didn't.
Oh,
It's a
that's
wonderful
great.
little scene. I won't even recount it because I want people to read the book. And then a teacher that the child had, and the vocabulary words and what they meant and how she uses them in the book. And I wouldn't say that to kids because they think it was, boring to talk about vocabulary.
Right.
But it's fun. It enhances the total.
Wow, yeah, that's really great. Out of the pieces in the collection, do you have a favorite?
Now, that's the question I get asked a
Oh,
lot.
really?
Yeah,
Well,
because
then forget it. Well, we'll go to something else.
it's no. I love all of the things in the collection, and I do think about the big things like Ezra Jack Keats' original art, which is amazing, and the work that continues to come from the Keats Award and the stories that we see, the picture books. And I also still love the H.A. and Margaret Ray papers because they created Curious George, because it was at a time when they were escaping the Holocaust. And that story, really, the Ray story fascinates me more than even Curious George, although I love Curious George.
Oh yeah, it's a really great character. Now, with for those that don't know, the De Grummond collection was started basically someone that was a librarian and
Yes.
wrote
Yeah, well,
hand wrote letters.
she did. Her name was Lena Y. de Grummond, and she was a librarian. She came here after retiring from the school system in Louisiana. She was over all of the school libraries and came to Hattiesburg to teach children's lit to graduate students. And she was so impressed with the commitment of those students and their interest. So she thought, I'm going to start a little collection. And she started writing authors and illustrators. And we found out she wrote as many as 300 a week,
Wow.
hand wrote. And she did that with the intention of getting handwritten letters back from authors and illustrators. And she did. She got back the first letter from H.A. Ray had an illustration of Curious George with a portfolio under his arm and a
wow.
signpost pointing to Hattiesburg. So
That's great.
those are treasures that can't be replicated.
Sure, absolutely. And I guess with the renown of the De Grummond collection has led to other things like the Ezra Jack Keats Award.
Yes.
And how did that honor come to USM of presenting that award?
Yeah, it was such a great thing. 2012 is when that happened, and the Keats Foundation had the award at the New York Public Library. And you think, what a foolish move to move it to Hattiesburg. But the director, the executive director of the Keats Foundation, loved the De Grummond collection and the fact that we had Keats' work, and loved the book festival, the children's book festival
Oh, yeah.
that's held every year on campus. And she thought that it was a great way to have authors and illustrators come to Hattiesburg, to the collection, at the beginning of their careers.
yeah, okay, yeah.
And as they continue, and they all have, it's been incredible. Meg Medina, one of the first writers we had on campus, is now the ambassador for children's literature out of the Library of Congress. And she's won a Newbery Award. You know, we've just seen their careers go from this first picture book to
Shooting
Zenith.
for the stars,
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so great stuff. Look, guys, don't sleep on the De Grummond collection. Take a second.
Yeah.
Go to the library, or take more than a second. Take a day. Go to the library and sort of see the different things that are in there. Now, in addition to the Ezra Jack Keats Award, there's also the Giverny Award, right?
Yes, and that, I think this year was the first year for that award to be presented at our book festival. I had a hand in there was a professor at Mississippi State who had it, and State was not interested in it.
Oh, wow.
And one of my colleagues, Joyce Shaw, is the one that was in a meeting with this woman and said, you know what? You need to know about the De Grummond collection and the Children's Book Festival. And so I met with her, and she came to the festival, the last festival I was there, and she thought it was a good fit. So I'm very happy about that. And it's an award for a science picture book. Really incredible.
Yeah, kids. My niece just started at South Alabama,
Oh,
and
wow.
when she was a toddler, we always would give her STEM type things, just because building blocks and playing with
That's right.
things and whatnot, and learning about science and physics on a level that was comfortable for her. And she's actually doing architecture has turned into her joy, I guess.
Wow.
And yeah, and the children's books that we foisted on her and made her get familiar with and playing with toys and whatnot, it really made a big dent
It
into her.
matters.
Yeah, it
I
really
mean,
does.
think of how you affected that life.
Yeah.
In that child and what she'll grow to do with her passion.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
I hope I know it'll be great, whatever it is, but it's hard for me to even imagine.
Well,
I remember, being a little squirt at, 2, 3 years old, and then.
Oh, yeah.
Now I'm a freshman in college now, by the way.
One of the things I love in the collection is the early nonfiction work for children. We have biographies.
Oh, wow.
And they'll have conversations in them, like George Washington. I didn't chop down that cherry tree. All the stuff that we know probably that conversation didn't happen.
Right.
But now there is a huge, I don't even know how to describe what has happened, but children's nonfiction is at the top
Wow,
of
that's
its
great.
game. And there's a rigid tolerance rule for accuracy. And they are so good. And I think the best way to learn something about someone is to read a children's picture book biography.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Because they are held to that standard.
You get to see
Yeah.
where they're coming from and how they're presenting
And read it quickly and learn a lot.
Yeah.
So
That's really interesting. That's super cool. I wasn't even aware that was a thing.
Yeah.
But that's
well,
that's
as a
great.
matter of fact, Jessamine Ward is going to be interviewing LeVar Burton
Oh, yeah.
at the book festival, and there's a picture book out this year, My Friend LeVar. So
Oh,
I haven't
wow.
read it yet, but I'm going to read it to see. I'm sure it'll tell his life.
Yeah, I mean, and what a storied life. What a really important person. And he's one of the guests, one of the people that are going to be at the book festival.
Yep, he is, and he's a rock star.
Oh yeah, for sure. I would say
with
for sure.
kids your age.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Although I don't know. Might be a little older than you think I am. So.
Oh, well, maybe you are. You look good.
well, thank you. Looks were never any of my problem.
Oh, my father used to say that. Yeah, I love that saying.
So, you're going to be involved in a couple of panels. What's your involvement with the book festival this year?
Well, I'm on the board, but I do have the privilege of interviewing Kate DiCamillo, and she is one of these people that when you interview her, she takes it. So I'm just thinking about words I can give her where she can take it and
yeah.
go. And then the 2024 Ezra Jack Keats Award winners are going to have a panel.
Oh, wow.
And it's our first one to have at the
Oh, that's really
Mississippi
great.
Book Festival in person. We had one a few years ago on Zoom. But this is a big deal, and so they're going to be at the festival. And there are all kinds of activities. They do give the authors and illustrators the treat of seeing Eudora Welty's house,
Oh, yeah.
which is a grand
Yeah, it's really
thing.
really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and lots of parties,
Yeah. well,
lots
yeah.
of food,
Yeah.
lots of hospitality.
Sure.
So
That is something we're known for here.
Yep, I've heard that. So it'll be a lot of fun.
That's so great. I have yet to go, and I've had things, rocks in my path, as
Yep.
they say, have prevented me from going, and the same as this year.
Yep.
And I'm feel terrible for that.
But you can watch the panels.
Yeah.
Some of it will be real time this year,
Mm-hmm.
and some will be later. If you go to the Mississippi Book Festival website,
So they'll have
you can
archives
see
on it
the
there.
panels, and they're great.
That's
you can
really
do it
great.
now.
Yeah, that's really great. Well, I wish you luck. I'm sure you'll have a
Thank
great
you.
time up there as always, because it's a heck of a festival.
It is.
for sure.
It truly is.
And thanks again for being a guest on the show.
I appreciate your support.
Absolutely, as much as we can do. So once again, this is Curator Emerita for the DeGrumman Collection, Ellen Ruffin. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
All right, we got a news round coming up from Suvi Lama. Suvi's going to be talking about the, I think, if I put the right one in, it's the Collegiate Scholars program, I believe. So let's listen. We'll see.
For Southern Miss Student Media Center, I'm Suvi Lama. USM's Center for Student Success is launching an extensive Success Coach program. The initiative is aimed at providing personalized guidance and mentorship to undergraduate students. They're now seeking dedicated faculty, staff, and graduate assistants to join its coaching program. The program is open to all undergraduate Southern Miss students on the Hattiesburg campus. While all undergraduates are welcome to apply, the primary focus is on students facing challenges adapting to university life. Success coaches will work one-on-one with students, offering guidance on goal setting, time management, and social as well as study skills. Dr. Ashley Burnside, director of the Center for Student Success, expressed the importance of this initiative.
I think sometimes we presume students know, but students don't always. And so we can go and make sure that they know whether that's academic services, whether that's social services, whether that's services on campus, or frankly, even within the community. That's really important because students have a lot of different varying needs that really impact their academic success and their progress.
The benefits of the Success Coaching Program are numerous. It provides students with one-on-one connections and helps them make progress towards their goals. This connects them with on-campus resources and offers support for successful skill development. For Student Media Center, Suvi Lama.
All right, thanks, Subi, for talking about that. This has been Southern Miss Today, and thanks to Miss Ella Ruffin for being a guest. Great show. Had some really good raps and whatnot. So me and Willie Green saying, stay calm, ban the bomb, kiss your mom, keep the faith, because somebody out there loves you. I can guarantee it. I'm me and Willie Green, sitting in for Abby, and maybe I'll see you at some other point this semester, but I'm not sure. Anyway, you've been listening to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. Woohoo! Sponsorship comes from Southern Beverage, your local Michelob Ultra distributor. Michelob Ultra has significantly fewer carbs and calories per serving if you are watching those in your diet. You can reach Southern Beverage by phone at 601-268-9111, or you can find them on the internet at southernbeverage.com. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri, and Southern Beverage ask you to please drink responsibly. Sponsorship comes from American Graphics. Located at 8 Commercial Warehouse Drive in Hattiesburg, American Graphics provides custom screen printing and embroidery. They can be reached by phone at 601-602-2277. And the website is goamericangraphics.com. American Graphics, printing at its finest.